Just wanted to hop on here real quick and talk about, some of the leads we done got in so far this week. We got two people that need live-ins. And again, this is all coming from our signs and our
beautiful dog, man.
Thanks, bud. This is all coming in from our Facebook ads, Google ads, and street signs. We got two live-ins. Well, one looks really good. She's ready to start at $225 a day. We charge the family $225 a day for a live-in, and people say, man, nobody can afford, when you talk about assisted living, people say nobody can afford, how do people afford $5,000 a bed per month, $6,000 a bed per month? It's cheaper than having a live-in caregiver. If the family's paying, now a lot of times the seniors live alone, and the family has to continue to pay the rent wherever they live, or the mortgage. If they downsize and they got like a condo, we see that a lot, where the family gets the senior a condo, and then they're paying the rent at the condo. They're paying for a live-in, $200 a day minimum. So that's already almost $6,000 a month, and and they and they still got to pay their bills. So at the bare minimum, they paying $6,000 a month for care, and then also they got to pay their house bills, which is their internet, electric, water, all of that stuff. And if they still got a mortgage or a note or some type of rent from a condo, wherever they're staying, they still paying those house bills. So it's cheaper for families to to move into a facility, paying $5,000 a month, $5,500 a month. That's why we can charge that, because what they're paying at home is more. And then the family still feel like they're obligated to do stuff. So that's like when you get a caregiver over there, and they paying the caregiver at their house, they paying them, $200, or they paying the company, they paying $200, $225, $250 a day. They feel like that caregiver work for everybody, and that can become a hassle as well. So ultimately, it becomes cheaper for the family to pay just to place them in a residential assisted living, $6,000 upwards of $6,000 a month, because it's cheaper. It's just cheaper. You say, how do they afford? A lot of people say they can't afford $4,000, $5,000 a month. Like, that's just basic. That's just what they're going to pay for care at home. And so they're paying for the care at home, and then also they paying all their house bills. They're paying at least $6,000 a month at a minimum for care and house bills. So when we get a live-in, we got a live-in in the place now, just off, the most current lead that came in, that, this ready for care. She wants to live in. We quoted her $225 a day. We'll pay the caregiver, we'll probably pay the caregiver $150, $175 a day. See whatever we can get, see if we can get a good caregiver at that rate. We got, multiple caregivers to reach out to, so we'll be making a decent amount of money off that, on a monthly basis. They usually pay their live-in invoices on a monthly basis. But if they pay bi-weekly, that's fine. And that's a 60. That's a 6,000 plus K invoice a month, and that's just one lead, one family who needs care. So we getting, if I'm making $1,250, I'm making 1,300 a month off this case. The caregiver making, she's making her money, and the family's getting care out of the rate that they can afford. Everybody wins. And like I said, these leads is coming straight off the signs in the street, the Facebook ads and the Google ads. And a lot of people, what I'm seeing is families is asking for live-ins. They don't realize that it's cheaper to place them, and then it's just not a lot of beds available. So as soon as you open your facility, you're gonna have residents. Cause like I'm saying, they can't afford. It costs more. So let me tell you the scenario of the lady who just called. She has no family. The person who called is her husband's nephew. So he's not even blood related. Her husband has passed. She's staying in the condo by herself. And she needs care. Oh no, they're with another company. And he wants to leave that company. They're not consistent. They keep sending different caregivers. And you'll hear that. That's why consistency is everything. When you placing caregivers, you got to make sure they're going to be there, be available when they take that case. Because families hate when you keep sending different caregivers to their house, especially if they got dementia. So the nephew saw our sign. He called us, told us this whole scenario. The lady has no family. He's her nephew by marriage, her ex-husband, her deceased husband's nephew. And he's taking care of her. He's over her whole estate or whatever, and he's the one that finds her care. She lives alone. And they're paying, I think they're paying a little more than $225 a day for a live-in. So we come in at $225 a day for a live-in. We're making what we're making. That's like almost a $7,000 a month invoice that they got to pay to us, so that she still has her household expenses. So it'd be much cheaper for her to, for him to place her in a facility. We don't have any beds available. But if it was that, we would market her, try to say, hey, come on, we can save you some money. Move into one of our facilities. Move into one of our homes. We got a bed available, whether it's semi-private or private. She has a little bit, of advanced dementia, so she'll probably want to be in the private room, or no, who knows? It's up to him at this point. But anyways, the point I'm making is, she's paying $6,000 a month for a living. But now also she has her condos of fees. And I know the area she lives in. And I know even a one bedroom is starting at like $2,000 a month. So it just makes so much more sense for them to move into a facility. But in the meantime, you'll get them, you'll get people who, if they can, the closest thing to a facility is a live-in caregiver, somebody who actually lives in there with them. And that's what we've been getting a lot of leads from. We've been getting a lot of people calling for live-ins. Those are, I really like live-ins because, it might take a couple of different tries to put the right caregiver over there, a good fit. But once they're in there and you got a good fit, you usually do okay. Because everybody gets comfortable. And they say, oh, I got somebody I was working with the other day. They said, well, I got how do people do that? Like, where do you find people who would do live-ins? Like, people do that? Like, they asked me that question. Like, people live. I'm like, man, it's a whole community. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle for a lot of people from the Caribbean who don't mind that kind of work, a lot of people from Africa who come over here and don't mind that work, they'll work for weeks and weeks straight. I got caregivers that we have to make them take breaks because they don't mind living in that house. And chances are, since it's in a nice community, if they're out walking and they have little activities and stuff, they having just as good enough. They having just as good as a lifestyle as the client that they working for, because that's where they live at. So it's a lot of people that do it, and they getting paid. And living care doesn't mean that they're going to be working for 24 hours a day. That's not the case. We got a contract that states that the caregiver is only working 13 hours a day. She has to get 8 hours of sleep and 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So nobody's working 24 hours a day. It's not 24-hour care. A living is not 24-hour care. And they still paying more than what they'll be paying an assisted living for 24-hour care. So a lot of families don't mind. People say, what do you like I was saying, there's a lot of people that don't mind the work, don't mind the pay. And you say, how are you paying them? $150 a day, $175 a day. And they're okay with it. Because, you include room and board, you including food. Well, that's board, right? They got all their internet and electric that they're not paying at another place. A lot of times they living with family, so they don't have their own place. And they'd rather be working than living up under one of their family members. So they take the live-in case. They making $175, $150 a day. And a lot of times they save it and send it back home to where they originally from. Like a lot of them live in Africa or on the islands. Like one of my caregivers right now, she's in St. Thomas. I'm waiting for her to come back. She due back Friday. She talking about something about her ticket and all that. She ain't doing nothing but trying to hang out. I already know, but it's cool. But so a lot of them live over there. They still had all their lifestyle over there, but they come here to work because it just makes sense. It's a great arbitrage to make money in America and live in a country that has a different currency. Even though St. Thomas itself is still American, but she's over there and she bounces around on islands and she lives, the money is worth it to them. So don't drive yourself crazy thinking that there's not nobody that's going to do that work. And they say, where do you find them at? We find them on Indeed. Everywhere, just like everybody else. And then once you find one or two of them, 4 or 5 of them, you're going to keep finding them because they know each other. It's a community. It's always a community of them. I have one lady from Cameroon, and she was sending her cousins down here. She would call her cousin. Every time I get a shift, get a live-in case, she got a cousin in Philly. She said, I got another cousin in Philly. I'm like, here she go with a cousin in Philly. And they be coming, and they be decent, and they know their job, and they come, and they do their live-ins. Well, however it lasts, and then they go about their business. And they from Africa. So you making American money, sending it back to Africa, you doing good. You really helping your family. So I had to explain that to, a couple of the clients that I'm working with because they don't understand like how the living culture works and why people work for that amount of money and why it's okay and why everybody, you create a win-win situation for yourself. For everybody involved, for the family, if you place a good client, a good caregiver with a client that's a good fit, and you make money as the facilitator of that, of that placement. So we got a lady that's just ready to do live-in. She's ready to pay $225 a day, and we have a caregiver who's ready to work for $150 to $175 a day, and like that's what we put it out as, and it's that simple. It's that simple. And you just, and like I said, these are just coming. These ads, these are leads coming from our ads that we've been running on Facebook or just on Meta and on and putting signs out and then Google Ads. So that's what we're doing. $225 a day. That's almost $7,000 a month that they paying. So it's a lot more than assisted living. It's a lot more than assisted living that they pay when they get care at home because they still had to pay their house bills. Like, I have a bed available. If I would have a bed available, I wouldn't charge her that much. Instead of if I know she could pay $6,500 or $6,700 on home care, on a live-in, and I know she got bills and all that. She still live in a condo. I know her budget is, upwards of $9,000, $10,000 a month is what her total house budget is, because she's still paying groceries. Now you gotta remember, she still gotta buy her own food and all that. And then most of the time we make sure that the client is also buying enough food for the caregiver. Like, we kind of build that in. So like, that's part of, their living, that they don't have to buy their own food, that y'all provide, the basics, the 3 meals. Now, if she wants some extra stuff, then that's different. But when she cooks for the client, she's cooking for herself as well. So if she can afford $10,000 a month, $9,000 a month, living on her own, we could charge her $5,000 a month for a private room, and she's fine. And she's saving money. And her family's happy because she's saving money. Now they can get rid of the condo, or, they can sell a house, what the kids want to do anyway. They don't got to pay the electric. They don't got to pay the internet. They don't got to pay the water. Because all that's being provided at the facility. And they can, it's a better opportunity for them. So that's when you hear people say, man, how do people afford assisted living? That's how. Because they got to get care one way or another. If you're in the right community, most of these families have prepared themselves for retirement. Unfortunately, that's not always the case in our community. But, in the, upper middle class, when I say our community, I mean, like, I come from a low income community, working class, social section 8 and all that. So we didn't, my mother wasn't prepared for retirement. We were just getting by. But these families, these communities that we market our services to, they're built for it. They already put most of them got long-term care insurance. So they've been paying into that shit since they started working 50, 60, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So they done built up hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance. So they got it. And it's out here, man. And I'm just showing you guys, like, through some really basic marketing stuff, how you can have your phone ringing. If I get this, like, if she signed, they looking over the contract. She about to sign. We got a caregiver. We working with a caregiver that might be interested. If she signs on the dotted line, we place her, and she called from a sign that I put out 2 weeks ago. And now, like I said, if she signs, we'll be making almost $1,500 a month profit on her. That's it. And that's how it works. The caregiver making the majority of the money. Obviously, they working. And we make what's in the middle, between the 150, or if I could talk her to 150, or you get her at 175. So everything between 175 and 225 is what we making. Profit every day. That's what we make every day. And usually the families pay they pay bi-weekly, because sometimes they don't want to write a whole, $6,000 check. So they pay every 2 weeks. Sometimes they pay every week. It don't matter. And we pay the caregiver monthly, If they need, and sometimes the caregiver might need some help getting there, we will provide transportation and go get their clothes and help them, stuff like that. Get them, drop them off, get them what they need. If they need to go to the grocery store, and if they don't have no money, we'll help them get some groceries for the, get started. Drop them off, and then they in there. They in there. That's it. That's one client that then came in since I've been on this live talking about it in the last 3 weeks. And I got 2 people that's ready to sign up on for a living. And I would the other lady, she's still acting like she's shopping around and all that. But we got the best prices. Because the franchises, the bigger companies, they're charging $300 a day for living. And the families can't afford that. That's just way too much money. You feel me? Like, I understand it, but, and they have to charge that. So like Bright Star, Visiting Angels and stuff like that, they have to charge those rates because they got a lot more overhead. They got these offices and they got these franchise fees they got to pay. They got they got all this staff, all this high-end expensive softwares that they running. We don't got all that overhead. So I could make money. I could make money at $200 a day and be happy. And my caregiver making $150, I'm making $50 a day. I'm all right with that, with this one client. Making $50 a day. And we get 2 or 3 clients like that a month. Even if we just getting 2 or 3 a month. Like, home care is not a business where it ain't like a restaurant. You gotta be making sales every day to exist. No, you just need 2 or 3 clients. You can get 2 clients a month for 12 months. You killing it. If it's consistent and they long-term clients, you killing it. You get 1, you killing it. You doing excellent. And the only way you're going to do that is that phone ringing. If that phone ain't ringing, it's not happening. But you got to make that phone ring. You got to make that phone ring. If that phone ain't ringing, you're not in business. So when you're thinking about running ads, $25 a day on Facebook, I think that's like $750 a month, something like that. My math ain't great. I'll be using a calculator. That's why I ain't about to be yelling out no totals. But $20 a day on Google, $20 to $40 a day on Google. What's that? 60 and 30 days. 630 days. So that's 600 on Google a month. And you don't got to do it all, you could do Facebook or Google. If you can afford to do both. But if you can only do one, start with Facebook. But definitely get you some signs out. Because signs are also like, they just could supplement it. They like, this like an added, marketing piece tool that's going to always keep your phone ringing. It's always, and I'm going to tell you, the people who call signs on the side of the road are more motivated. They like that. They almost desperate, and that's what you want. You want people that's ready. You know what I mean? We'll take any lead that we get. But if I know you call the street sign for your loved one, you desperate. You can't change no diapers. You can't transfer them from the bed to the chair and get them in the living room and get them to the table and make their meals. You got to go to work. They see them signs on the side of the road, they be like, man, this Jesus put that sign right there because he knew what I was going through. Trying to deal with my mom, who got early onset dementia, and it's breaking my heart to have to watch her, struggle, and then we fussing and arguing because I'm not a caregiver. I don't know how to do this work, and I gotta be at work. So they see your sign, they be like, man, they call. Like I got this going on, I got that going on. I need some help. I need some help with mom. I need some help with dad. You know, a lot of times they be either they husband or the wife. I need, you know, I got a pastor that I take care of her husband. She was like, he just got too aggressive. You know, he started throwing stuff at her, but he it's dementia. So we got to care. She couldn't do it no more. She's healthy. She just couldn't do it no more. And he's huge. So she couldn't, you know, she was almost scared of him. That's Mr. Lenny. And he, so you never know, man. You never know what people need. And you got your company, you got your license, you done went through that whole process. There's no reason you ain't getting no phone calls, man. You know, it's no reason. You don't got to spend no arm and a leg. You ain't got to learn no sophisticated strategies and all this stuff. They trying to make it complicated for you can't understand it and all that shit. And it's just private pay. And I'm not even talking about Medicaid and all that. This is all private pay stuff. Sometimes Medicaid clients come through, but majority of these people got long-term care insurance, or they paying out of pocket. Because those are communities that we market in. We market in communities that can afford it. Upper middle class communities. I want the families that call my phone that can afford $7,000, $8,000 a month. Because the grandma didn't prepare for it. You know, the family didn't prepare for it. It ain't like, you know, she working and all. No, they got a retirement plan. This stuff is built into their retirement plan. They know they're going to get old. So, if you need any help, we still running the Memorial Day sale. We starting a new cohort. Go ahead and hit that Cash App if you want to get started with us. We be starting the new cohort. I was trying to get it this week, but I'm going to run the sale for a couple more days. So we'll be starting next week. This is the cohort 2 for the spring. And we're making it real cheap. It's usually $397. I'm only doing it for $97 for the Memorial Day sale. So if y'all want to get it, but you got to go through Cash App. I'm not making a whole new link on the website for it. So if you want to join, we already got 4 people over the weekend. We're looking for 4 more people. And then we getting started hopefully next week. You can get in the cohort. We meet once a week. And then also you get one-on-one calls. So you can call me privately throughout the week if you have a question. We can work on your company individually. Damn, that pollen. I feel it in my throat. Or we can or you could just meet us on the weekly call. And we'll discuss it then. And everything is recorded. All the training is recorded. So she acting a fool because there's a dog out here. She pulling me all around. And all the training is recorded. It's a private group, so you get access to it forever. Once we go over the training, you can always go back and stuff like that. So okay, we got somebody who in here just bought it. Darnell Austin, yeah, we're gonna show you how to do it. Exactly what I'm telling y'all to do. Yep, I'm showing you exactly what to do. What's up, Roslyn? Hey, lady. Marjorie, is that your name? Marjorie Simmons? She said she just got it. She's part of the new cohort starting in a couple days. So she said she really can't believe her eyes on what she already got, and we ain't even started yet. So y'all need to get with this. So she said, I really need that training from A to Z on how to do everything, please. I like to take both data, individual training, and group training. Yeah, you're gonna get all that. That's part of it. It's 6 months. I'm here. You can call me. It's like I said, if you want to set up a one-on-one call, we could do that even before the training. So I could just help you get, figure out where you at and stuff like that. So you more than welcome to reach out, and I can start working with you immediately. But as far as the group, I'm just waiting for everybody to, I'm giving everybody a couple more days to sign up, so we can get it going. Come on, Dakota, you ain't gotta jump. You showing me you could jump over the thing. So yeah, so just feel free to reach out. I'm gonna post it here in the chat, and y'all could use it if y'all ready to get started. But this stuff not complicated. Don't let nobody make you think this stuff is complicated, especially once you get your license. You done already got over the hard part. Don't get no company license and just be sitting there telling everybody you got a business, but you ain't got no client. So I'm about to take this maniac in. She acting like she's so thirsty. I'll talk to y'all later. If y'all have any questions, just hit me up.